I love sweet God magnet. Love just to tell me, don't you grab it.
Welcome to Lobster Magnets Review, the channel review. I'm here with my buddy Gorogregoro.
Yo! What's up?
And we are here to talk about the darkest chapter of Hunter x Hunter in a long fucking time. Maybe even darker than the infamous chapter where, like, you know, the fucking chairman, Hunter chairman, basically says that, like, you know, ants will never be able to match the malice of humans.
Yeah, this is pretty fucking dark chapter. Just like this one panel alone of one of the young princes being strangled to death by one of their bodyguards.
Yeah, it's a pretty fucking dark panel. It's like this poor little prince, this cute little girl. We don't know how old she is, and she's just in her bed being strangled by this guy in a suit.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not even like really grotesque violence, but the implication of like a young child being strangled in their sleep, it is very mean and brutal.
Yeah. I can't believe, like, the stuff he's able to get away with in a shonen manga, of all things.
Well, I'm glad that we finally have first blood, though, in this conflict. It feels like we were, like, tiptoeing forever, but now we finally have, like, someone's, like, fucking, like, you know, blood is in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it would be like this, though. Like, this kind of... It's so disturbing, this first death.
You're a little more disturbed by than me. To me, it's like, oh, okay, that's neat. I guess you were expecting something more flashy, like a Nen fireball, or like the beast like attacks someone or something.
Like one of the bodyguards shoots, I guess, one of the older princes or something, or maybe they set the room on fire or poison them. I don't fucking know, but like
shoots a poison dart or something.
Barehanded strangulation of a child.
I guess like, that is pretty like raw and pretty fucking brutal.
I mean, does Game of Thrones even do stuff like that? Or like strangling children like to death?
They knocked a child out of a fucking roof, and Joffrey was technically a child when he got poisoned. So
that was like pushing. There's like, you know, push him off a ledge, and he was okay at the end of it. Like, there wasn't any child death there. But the poisoning thing, that was like a little bit indirect, I feel
indirect.
This is like hands-on. Literally fucking hands-on.
So what do you think of all the Nen speculation in terms of how the person did it? Like Hanzo and Biscuit. Well, you pointed something interesting before we started the stream. You want to point it out to all the fine people listening? Okay,
so I was confused at first the reason why Hanzo was so angry, because he seemed like he was protecting the one of the younger princes instead of the older girl first.
Momose, yeah. It seemed like he was protecting the dragon prince.
But apparently both of these princes, like the girl that was strangled and the young kid with the dragon Nen beast, have the same mother, and the mother ordered the bodyguards from the younger girl, from the older girl, to the younger son. So she had less bodyguards watching over her. And on top of the fact that she used her Nen beast, like, to almost kill that guy.
That was the most interesting thing. That, like, you know, that was a new factor. That, like, basically the Nen beasts aren't invulnerable. If they like do it, they like consume the person's aura, and if they do it too much, then they go into like a stasis state, and the person is vulnerable.
Right. So I thought that was interesting.
That's definitely going to come into play. Something tells me like Tesseract's going to get like a really overpowered ability, and it'll like combine with his Nen beast to be like the ultimate thing, and then he'll ultimately get beaten by the fact that, like, you know, he'll use his like creepy lady horse too much or something.
Something else that made me think is, like, what if you are already a Nen user? You're able to produce more aura, right? So you're able to use your Nen beasts more effectively.
Probably more effectively, but like my guess is, like, if your Nen beast does something, then like you won't have enough aura to like use your ability or whatever. or if you use your or too much aura, then the Nen Beast won't be able to do anything, in theory.
But the advantage is to people right now, I believe, who are able to use Nen. Because if the beast is draining the user's Nen, the host's like Nen, then people who are able to generate more aura are going to have a bigger advantage during this succession war, right?
Yeah. They'll obviously, like, someone like, the first prince, Benjamin, is probably in the best position.
First prince and Tesseract. Right
Yeah,
now.
and Tesseract. Well, I feel like Benjamin has a bit of an edge over Tesseract so far, given that, like, he already knows how to use Nen, and he already has a Nen ability, assumingly.
I
And he's
guess,
also-
but he's like, I don't think he's like a genius level right now of Tesseract. Tesseract, he's like learning so rapidly.
Yeah, he's learning so rapidly, but we don't know how good he is until, like, he actually, like, does something. For all we know, all he has is the fundamentals, and that's cute. But assumingly, Benjamin probably has some cool Hatsu that's, like, tied to his personality, where he, like, calls in like a royal golden monkey or a golden fucking elephant or some shit.
Yeah, well,
Or I don't know, maybe he's an enhancer, and he's like, as powerful as Uvagin, and he, basically just enhances his Nen so he can just beat the shit out of anything.
maybe. I'm curious how many creative uses you can get out of enhancer abilities. I don't know how creative you can get with that kind of Nen.
I don't know, you could have like a cool armament or something, or like, enhanced super legs.
Armament hockey.
Yeah, I'm sure Togashi could probably come up with something. Although I guess you could say, like, enhancers have not been, like, the most impressive of the abilities in Hunter x Hunter. They just basically hit shit, right?
Yeah, suppose so. Hold
Yeah,
on,
like-
hold on one sec.
Yeah. I'm gonna edit this all out in post. Greg, can you hear me?
Sorry about that. It's just
That's fine. I'll edit it all out. But what was I saying? So, like, Benjamin feels like he's like the best bet in terms of, like, I'm sure Tesseract's gonna, like, do some underhanded shit and, like, undermine him. But I feel like, obviously people who know how to use Nen are in a much better, advantage in place in this succession war than people who don't.
yeah,
And
especially
they-
after this development, right?
Yeah. Now that we know that, like, because the Nen beasts are parasitic, that they're not invulnerable, and there's a huge weakness. And I loved all the speculation in terms of, like, did the person have, like, a clone that they made out of Nen and a body double, and
Yes.
Hanzo feeling so guilty. It's really nice to see Hanzo. I can't wait to see what his Nen ability is. I love the fact that
He mentioned that he was able to clone as well, like, because he's a ninja. He does all this ninja stuff. Maybe he does, like, has other random ninja techniques on top of Nen abilities as well.
Probably, because he was, like, one of the better Hunter characters from, like, the Hunter exam, so it's really fun to see him here, especially him interacting with Biscuit Kruger.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
Biscuit Kruger is just, like, the most fun name to say.
Yeah.
Biscuit Kruger.
Yeah, so many great side characters in Hunter x Hunter, and I'm excited what Hans is gonna do to, like, try and catch this perpetrator. He's gonna use, like, some crazy ninja strategies. Like,
We'll see. I think he'll ultimately get sidetracked, but it was really interesting. And your observation is interesting that, like, the mother, like, preferred the son over the the daughter, and she basically, like, left her to the wolves.
yes, I thought that was very interesting, and it begs the question, like, does the mother have any, like, did she, like, really hate her daughter for some reason, or, like, prefer the son so much over the daughter? Why is she so spiteful towards the daughter? Wouldn't she want to protect them equally?
Well, remember that, like, all the fucking queens, the king's harem, they all have their own political agenda as well that we don't. We've gotten a little glimpse into, like the Swinko family and all the other fucking shit. But we don't know entirely what their agenda is because there's so many swirling. There's the bodyguards. There's the princes themselves. There's poor Karapika who's just trying to like stay afloat in the storm. There is so much going on, which is why this has been such a fun and engaging arc, even though this is all tertiary stuff.
Yeah. And what did you think of Queen Oito, like, sort of breaking cover, like, in that moment? She's just like, we gotta save the prince! She's getting choked to death. Right in front of the first prince's bodyguard, dude.
Well, that you should know her, like, you know, fucking Wobble's the most vulnerable and easiest to kill, so she, you know, that bitch better, you know, get with the program. But to me, it seemed like it was a very defining character moment in the sense that, like, it showed that, like, she's basically just like a regular average person who wants the best for her child, who's been thrown into this just because she wanted a better life by basically becoming, I guess, the part of the king's harem.
Yeah, and she she has like she cares for the other princes as well. She's not like so cold to see like a child dying in a room
she
to
actually
just be like
to.
completely silent about it just to protect her own child. Like she'll willingly like go out of her way to try and like help this poor young prince from being killed. You know, I thought it was a great moment, and
it was definitely a good moment. It adds some logistic questions, like did she disengage from the cockroach when she was like in that moment? Can she re-engage with it? Is like
I think she's still able. Done? No, I think she's still able to control it because Karapika was saying he still was in emperor time, and he wanted the queen to continue on with the operation, and she did eventually afterwards say, I want to continue for my son, to scout out the rest of the princes and see what's going on.
That's the interesting thing about Queen Oito. Obviously, she's not an incredibly interesting character. She's just an average person who's stuck in this like clusterfuck.
She's very concerned mother, like trapped in this clusterfuck situation.
And she's like smart enough to like know to like not give Karapika any trouble and like go along with his plans and play along with him because what he generally Karapika is a nice enough person to like have her best interests at heart.
Yeah.
Even though Karapika's motivation is primarily, it's interesting. It's very similar to the York New arc where like. On one hand, Karapika took his like responsibility to the Nostrad family very seriously in keeping Neon safe.
Yeah.
But even though his main aim was like to get at the spiders.
Yeah, I mean, Karapika still cares very much about the people he's sworn to protect, and his friends as well. So he takes that very seriously, and he tries not to let that jeopardize, his mission of vengeance.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like Karapika being such an anal rules lawyer, like you'd think it would be like not engaging to watch, but it is a fun balancing act versus someone like Susky who's like the ultimate emo avenger.
Yeah, exactly. Right, Susky just doesn't give a crap about anybody. Like
no.
Until like the very end of the series, and he's just like, "Okay, I'm here to help you now, guys."
Yeah, and then he like posts himself in like self-appointed exile for like giving everyone so much trouble. He's like, I'm gonna go wander the world and leave my poor wife sex-starved and my fucking daughter alone.
Yeah, and I don't know. I like the older Sasuke better than the younger Sasuke, to be honest, though. I like him.
Which version? Like the adult Sasuke or
adult Sasuke? Like the one where he's like one-armed and wandering and stuff.
Yeah, I admit that is like a nice. It is better than just like the angsty Uchiha clan. I want to kill everyone. Stop! I want to avenge my clan.
It actually felt like he grew as a person, but I think we're digressing.
Yeah,
from a manga we shouldn't digress from. Because this, or how do we get to the subject of Sasuke? Oh, Kurapika.
It was Kurapika. It's Kurapika and how he's like sort of an Avenger, and like what how does Kurapika's Avengerness compare with Sasuke's when Kurapika still cares about people, and like that's probably like in his nature he doesn't really have it in him to be like a full Avenger, in like that great video I showed you about him, because like being a full Avenger like basically hurts him.
Yeah,
and conflicts him and twists him, and we're seeing like with the Emperor time like eyes like how that like really hurts him in the long run.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, does the ability get disabled after he faints? After he loses?
Yeah, that's a
consciousness?
really good question. I'm curious to see what like Togashi decides with like the next chapter. I honestly thought he could go out of Emperor time as soon as Oito used the ability. I didn't think he still needed to be in Emperor time for her to like use it, but I guess that's not the case.
And another question I have is like, okay, because like people are able to still have Nen abilities go on even after their own death, like Nen abilities that get stronger after death.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
Thing. So
Good old
why wouldn't it work if Kurapika is unconscious? So it just kind of begs the question. Anything could happen at this point where either the ability goes off or the ability still is going on and is still like slowly killing Kurapika.
Yeah. That might be like double-edged sword kind of thing where like Kurapika basically like Oito finishes the scouting, but Kurapika like realizes he's had Emperor time on for like 6 hours or 8 hours or something like that.
Yeah, kind of nuts actually. I think about it, it's like all for a tiny cockroach. Kurapika sacrifices life. Kurapika sacrifices
like the stupidest thing.
Kurapika sacrificed half of his life for this cockroach.
But it doesn't matter as long as he gets those eyes, as long as he gets Tesseract. But hey, Kurapika's in good shape. He was probably going to live like 80, 90 years, so I don't know, maybe he'll be happy just living to 45.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know. Yeah, he should be satisfied as long as he gets his, vengeance or gets the eyes of his clan back.
Yeah. Well, that was a great panel back in the day when like Killua was like trying to contact Kurapika, but he like had his phone off. He was having this like lone vigil with all the eyes.
Yeah.
I wonder though, when he gets them, what's he gonna do? Is he just gonna sit and stare at them all the time, or is he gonna do any other shit?
I don't know. I think maybe he'll like do some kind of burial ceremony of like all his people's eyes and finally put them to rest.
That makes sense. I could sort of see that he just buries them, and then that's his sort of like final, like in the final chapter of Hunter x Hunter. That's like a few panels for his like complete story arc.
Yeah, unless he dies like somewhere in the middle, in between that.
If Togashi did that, I would applaud him. That would be balls of steel to actually kill one of your main characters.
Yeah. So there's something else that happened in this chapter.
Well, there's Tesseract and him like thinking Theta lied to him, and now poor and Tesseract reveals his misogynist tendencies that we all knew were there. That like first we're thinking, oh, maybe he's not as bad as we thought, and then he's like, there's one thing I hate, it's a lying bitch.
Yeah.
And poor Theta's like just trying to like play the straight man as his like fucking molesto Nen beast is just staring at him.
I feel like the Theta is kind of screwed at the moment. She's really put in an awkward yeah. He really put her in an awkward situation without even realizing it.
Isn't Kurapika technically lying? You can't teach Nen in 2 weeks unless, I guess, they're a genius, and most of them probably won't be able to.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, like, what Kurapika is gonna do there with like only 2 weeks of training. How is that possible?
I don't think Kurapika's aim is like to really like teach everyone Nen as much as it is to like have a peaceful alliance with all of the princes by like explaining to them how Nen works. So even if the bodyguards aren't capable of learning it, they at least know what to look for.
Right. Yeah.
Unless Kurapika's plan is he's gonna like nen punch everyone and hopefully awaken them, because isn't that like the sort of like
The dangerous way of awakening.
the dangerous way, like punch someone with nen or like inject nen with them and then to like unblock all the aura or some shit, and that's like the sort of ghetto way of doing it.
I think so. That's what the Theta was talking about. That would be like the most dangerous way to awaken Tesseract.
Yeah. Oh God, poor girl, poor girl. I wonder if she's still alive or she's just mutilated. It wasn't a huge blood splash, so she could still be alive. Maybe just like the horsewoman bit her or something.
I don't know what happened there. I mean, it could have been death. It could have just been like metaphorical blood splatter. Like if you turn this wrong direction, you will have blood splatter on the floor. You think it was literal blood splatter?
I think it was. The question is like how severe was the wound? I think he nicked her a little bit. I don't think he killed her though.
Oh, yeah. And she's very cool, collected about it. I got me thinking, like, who is are they both lying? Is both Kurapika and Theta lying?
No, well, Theta, they did imply that Theta was like going to try and teach him like a nen thing that was inefficient, but I feel like Kurapika's lying in terms of like, you can't teach anyone like nen in 2 weeks.
No, now I gotta look it up.
Even in the spider ants, they said that like, that like when they were going to like forcibly awaken everyone with the chimera ants, when they were going to forcibly awaken people to make like nen soldiers, that like most people would die from the selection process because most people can't use nen. Because only like 5% of the people can use nen in the world, I believe. Right?
You remember when Gon and Killua were able to learn Nen during that tournament arc?
Yeah, during the Heaven's Arena.
That couldn't have been more than 2 weeks, right?
No, that was like 3 or 4 months.
Was it?
Yeah. Oh, that whole arc took place over the course of like 3 or 4 months. Because remember, they were killing time before they met up with Kurapika in York New City, and there's a part where Gon gets injured and he's like out of commission for like a month.
Was it really that long?
I think so. It wasn't like 2 or 3 weeks. They definitely there was like a progression of time for the Heavens Arena.
But they were still in the tournament. Like, how could they have waited so long to play out their next match in the tournament?
Because there was like this complicated rule scheme that like you could like, as long as you like had a fight within 90 days or something, you wouldn't be disqualified from like the 200 level above of Heaven's Arena, because that's the level when the Nen users started to appear. And then there was like Dreidel guy, fucking wheelchair man. There was a third guy who was also lame, but I forget him. So did you find any answers? Don't keep the people waiting, man, Greg.
How long it takes to learn Nen the slow way depends on one's talent. I believe Wing said that Gon and Killua had so much talent that it would take them only 1 month or a few weeks of meditation to awaken their Nen. However, the type of people hunters are, I wouldn't be surprised if most would. I believe Wing said that Zushi learned Nen the old-fashioned way through meditation. And I think it took 6 months for Zushi to master 10.
Yeah, Zushi was very slow.
Yeah,
everything.
So I think in a sense that's kind of more. Zushi is like more the norm than anything.
And assuming, let's assume
not a little
Theta's
bit below
like,
average.
Yeah, and Theta's using like Zushi style methods to teach Tesseract. Yeah. But Tesseract is obviously much smarter than that.
Yeah, actually, like hyper genius level.
Hyper genius, which is
considers at that level
convenient.
Right now, after only 3 hours, or if we're going by the Kurapika timeline, like Kurapika has had his Emperor time for like 3 hours plus. It must have mean that it's either that Tesserac's training is going on a different timeline than what we're seeing with Kurapika, or Tesseract is just like that insanely hyper genius level that he's able to, get that level of Nen mastery within 3 hours.
I think it's on a different timeline. Like, there's like a couple days of the voyage, but I don't know. So, Greg, like, we should make a bet. Do you think Theta is alive or dead?
I think she has to be alive because Tesseract still hasn't learned everything.
God, it'd be really it'd be really fucked up if like she's still alive, but like the Nen Beast like injected some sort of fucked up like parasite like orb thing that'll like constrict around her heart or like tear off her arm if she lies to him or something like that.
Yeah, like I think it wouldn't be very beneficial if Tesseract like consciously killed the Theta, but maybe his Nen Beast would be able to just like unconsciously kill her.
Well, the interesting thing is, like, I personally think she's still alive. I think she's just mildly wounded. But, it'd be really fucked up. Imagine this. Like, Tesseract kills her, and then he, like, goes to Kurapika's session to learn Nen, and then Kurapika has to teach him.
Yeah. I don't see that. I don't see that going well at all.
You don't think that would be just an awesome scene?
That would be so messed up. Oh god,
that'd be
so awkward.
Scene. That would be an amazing fucking scene.
I feel like I don't know what the fuck would happen if that would ever happen. I think Kurapika would just flat out reject doing that.
No, Kurapika's too much of a rules lawyer. He would go on it, but he like use that to like pry and learn as much about Tesseract as possible, and then he'd like sort of like understand like how talented and dangerous he is.
I don't know. I feel like Kurapika may be a rules lawyer, but like it's essentially strengthening your own enemy for like no reason. Like your actual enemy for no reason. His actual enemy isn't Tesseract's bodyguards or anything like that. It's actual Tesseract. Like Tesseract is the numero uno bad guy right now that Kurapika wants to deal with somehow, and capture and get the eyes back, whatnot. If he's making him stronger, it's going to put him at a huge disadvantage.
Well, maybe Kurapika would like try and like teach him the wrong way or something, but like that would be an amazing scene. Fuck, I want that to happen.
Man, that'd be
tell me crazy. Tell me you don't want to see that happen.
I do, but I can't imagine how that would ever play out. I mean, I just in a practical sense, I don't imagine how that would play out. Like,
it would be an amazing scene. It would be like what Dr. Stone is trying to do with like the whole like, ooh, I'm the mentalist, only 10 times better.
I still want to see Parastid, Crollo, and Tesseract all in one room. I think that might actually end up being a better scene than Kurapika training Tesseract, because there's either like, yes, Kurapika's gonna train him, but like, hinder his training, or Kurapika's just gonna flat out say no. I don't know what would happen.
Which one of those would be? Well, we can always dream that Togashi gives us the ultimate fantasy of like the best Hunter x Hunter villains all in a room, just like hanging out. And then Hisoka tries to murder them, and then they're all united to like defend against Hisoka.
Oh god. Oh my god, this would be like the best kind of fan fiction. Like,
yeah, there you go. That's the fan service I want. I don't want like tits and asses. I want like really cool characters forced to work together in huge scenarios. That's the kind of fan service I like.
Yeah.
You know what's the best fan service in fucking One Piece film Z? When it's not Nami in Robin's boobs. It's the scene where Koji is sitting in the bath, and then he gets out of the bath, and you see he's like incredibly scarred and burned, and he lost a fucking leg, and he makes a new leg out of ice.
That's a pretty cool scene.
That's an amazing piece of fan service. Like, just that character design tells you so fucking much about a Koji that, you know, we haven't seen in the manga, but you can infer.
Yeah, it tells a lot about like what happened in the time jump period in One Piece.
And it's an amazing little aside. That's the fan service I go ape shit over. That's how you appease me, not stupid boobs and other crap. And like, Crollo, Pariston, and fucking Tesseract all in a room. That would be great. But Tesseract, oh man, you were turning into a lovable bastard. Like, you better hit those high notes, because I am rooting for you to become one of my favorite Hunter x Hunter villains.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many potential. There's so many potentials for like really great Hunter villains. Pariston, Crollo, Tesseract. To lesser extents, I'd say Camila, Benjamin. Can't think of any other princes that really form a threat. Maybe like the King of Kakin in some weird way.
He doesn't. He just seems impartial. It's like, this is what we do. This is like our ceremony. You know, I'm a amoral fat king who doesn't really give a shit about human beings, so I don't care how many people die. Even though this is the worst time to have the succession ceremony, when we're going to an unexplored continent filled with like dangerous beasts and animals that no one has ever seen before.
Exactly. It's like kind of fucked up, like how he planned this all out.
Yeah, it's a complete fuck you. Oh, we've got, you know, poor civilians who were like in step. You got the poor Zodiacs who were like their hands have been forced, and you just have this fat king who's like, God, can you imagine that if like Donald Trump was like, you know, traveling to like fucking Antarctica to, you know, for a new continent that was uncovered, but then he decided like, okay, all my Trump children, you one who
fight the succession war during this boat ride.
That is a manga I would love to see, like the succession war between all the Trump children. Fucking men beasts.
Oh my god. All right. That's. Well, we probably shouldn't make this too political, but that would be pretty funny, actually.
That would be. It doesn't matter your politics. Either way, you would probably find that funny as hell.
Yeah.
Although generally we're moderate to left leaning here, but you know, that would be amazing, no matter where you are on the political spectrum.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like. Anyway, I was like.
So, Greg, what would you rate this chapter, though? We should wrap this up.
Oh yeah. Did anything else significant happen in this chapter? I feel like that was basically it.
We covered it. Was Theta.
Oh yeah, Krapika collapsing.
Krapika collapsing.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
Yeah, we covered pretty much all the bases. So it's time for a score. What do you think now that we've had First Blood?
This is a 10. This is a 10 for me. Like, this guy has so much balls. Child strangulation in a shonen manga.
Okay, I'll give it a 9. I do appreciate the balls of, like, you know, poor little girl, like, just being murdered in the bed by a fucking bodyguard. Like, the most brutal, like, cold, calculating. You know, it's like you have a world where people have, like, magical fucking powers, so you could, like, make the death, like, you know,
more
as
fantastical and, like, less, you know, feel less real.
Yeah.
But this feels so fucked up and real. It's so disturbing. Such a disturbing image, this one. And, you know, the way this guy tells his stories, he doesn't hold bars. He just wants to tell a very interesting story. And that
is what makes Togashi, like, one of the most interesting mangakas, is that, like, you know, for all intents and purposes, this should not work. It should not be as interesting as it is, but it's super fascinating. And he you know, he's a great example of, like, you know, the best writers and creators are the people who don't give you what you think you want, but they give you what you need.
It's like that song.
Yeah.
You don't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you get what you need.
Do. Can't always get what you want, but Togashi's gonna get what you need. You want Krapika to fight all the spiders. You want Gon to meet his father, but you can't always get what you want, because Togashi is gonna give you what you need. Yeah, yeah. He's gonna give you.
Gon did technically
more.
meet Jing
Yeah,
at some point,
yeah.
but yeah.
Wait, well, true, but like, you know, his father didn't really like give him like a power up or like, oh, now let's fight together, son, and go on hunting expeditions. He basically like tossed him off.
Yeah, and actually, Gon after that, he got a power down. Because he
Yeah.
lost all his Nen abilities after
As far as
that.
we know, Gon has no Nen, and there's not been an explanation if he can get it back. And Gon is like completely out of the story, and Togashi's like, "Fuck Gon, it's crap."
Gon's got so much paperwork to do now at his home. He's like, his mom is like, Gon, there's all his hunter paperwork that needs to be filled out. You gotta do this right now.
Yeah, or his aunt. Remember, we don't know who the fuck his mom is.
Wait, that's his aunt?
Yeah, it's his aunt.
Oh. Okay.
We don't know. There's a scene where like he even like says, "I can tell you who your mom is," and then Gon says like, "No, that's fine. Mito-san, I consider her my mom, or her to be my mom because she's the one who raised me. So I don't give a shit about mommy who also abusive." And I'm sure we're gonna find out later on that Gon's like the most powerful woman in the world or some shit.
Gon's mother is the most powerful woman in the world. Yeah.
So something like that. Who we'll see, or who knows? Maybe Togashi doesn't give a shit, and we'll never know.
I'm curious what will happen with that now because I always thought that what's her name, Misa.
No, she's his aunt. Go look it up after the video. She's not his mom.
Although, like the way she was angry at Jing, I felt like that was like
because she basically abandoned a child and made her like fucking take care of him.
Man, that adds like a whole nother mystery to Gon's character now.
Yeah, it's always been there.
Gon and Jing. So that can be another thing that can be another good storyline that happens in Hunter x Hunter.
We will have to see. All right, so this is what I'm gonna plug for this episode. The
Body
Shonda
pillows. Oh wait, okay.
No, not this time.
Okay.
How to Get Away with Murder, the TV show by Shonda Rhimes. That's right.
Okay.
Shonda Empire is here, and we are going to watch a very diverse, racially diverse group of students in law talk about murder with their sexy teacher, who I think is Olivia Spencer. How to Get Away with Murder, because it's Shonda's world, and we're just living in it. So
all the bodyguards read this book right now, so you can assassinate your respective princes.
It's a TV show. It's a TV show, man.
Oh, okay.
All
the bodyguards right now from Hunter x Hunter universe. Buy this DVD set, watch it thoroughly, so you can assassinate your respective princes.
so you can secure your way in the administration,
and you can fight for that inner power struggle within the bodyguards to become the bodyguard for the main prince who will win the succession war.
Yeah. So all potential bodyguards, go click the link below, click on an Amazon, and if not, go get something you actually want.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for watching this video and our wonderful dissection of child murder and Hunter x Hunter. Like, comment, subscribe. I love your comments. I eat them every morning. I get up in the bright morning, and before I go to my miserable job where I'm overworked and tired, I look to see, do I have new comments? New comments, and they make me happy when I see them. So thank you for the people who do comment, especially you, Walter Street. You're the most consistent. And remember, lobster's antennas, but don't you grab it.
Lobsters made